Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for another episode of Leading on Mondays. My name is Florin, and I'm so delighted to be with you today. And today, I'm joined, as usually, by my teaching partner, Madalina and Welcome, Madalina.
Hello, Florina. It's nice to be here again with you, and I cannot wait to have the next minutes to discuss together related to the reproduction shift. And today we are going to talk about the ladder, but it's not just any kind of ladder. It's not just the physical thing as a ladder, but we are going to discuss about the ladder as a principle in leadership, and we are going to make the distinction between climbing the ladder and building the ladder. So we are going to talk more about that in the next minutes. So, can you tell us, Florin, what is actually the reproduction shift related to leadership?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Madalena. I think for me, and in my experience working with leaders, the reproduction shift, it's a shift that leaders have to make in their career. At one point in time, they have to shift from building themselves. I mean, it's not that they are not going to develop themselves and they're not going to climb that kind of, quote unquote ladder themselves, but it's to shift in developing and building others, right? The reason why we put this on the top of the screen here is from climbing ourselves to empowering others, to taking others on the journey, and even to build that kind of ladder and platform for them to speak and to influence. So when you think about that as a leader, what this means is that we're making the shift from only focusing on our development to start developing other people. That's why we call this the reproduction shift. We start to reproduce ourselves, right? We start not to clone ourselves, but we give our power away and empower people to lead, right? So this is, I mean, this is an essential shift. If you think about any leader thinking that they could succeed by themselves in today's world, they're doomed, right? I mean, it's impossible. We need other people, right? And the goal of the leader actually is not only to develop themselves, but to develop others. And how can we develop others unless we borrow some of our influence, we give them opportunities, we offer them opportunities to influence others, to take maybe roles that we know they might not be prepared for, but we know that they can
Yeah.
grow into. So that's how this looks like, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'm very happy that you actually discussed about reproduction or reproduce yourself as a leader and actually empowering others when you focus more on helping other people to become leaders. So but later on we will discuss about the benefits of it. So I'm
Sure.
not going to ruin the topic now with actually stating the what are the benefits. And I have another question for you,
Sure.
Florin. What is actually the definition of a ladder related to leadership? Can you
Yeah.
discuss with us a little bit about that?
Sure. So when you think about ladder, this is just a kind of a metaphor we're using, right? And this is not something we invented, right? This is one of the programs we licensed with from John Maxwell team, right? But the ladder here is more or less not necessarily someone climbing inside of an organization and that being, the ladder within the organization, but it's more like you building and actually, first of all, climbing your leadership kind of uh, ladder. If you think about,
Mhm.
you can actually equate that with your own hill or your own mountain, your own summit, right? So first of all, in order for us to be able to help other people, we need to climb as high as possible. And this ladder could be in a non-profit organization. It could be that you're a leader of that organization. It could be with your peers. It doesn't have to be that you're getting positions after position after position, but we're talking about getting more influence, right? So the ladder is the amount of influence you have within the organization and how we actually increase our influence. And when we get to a certain level of influence, that we shift the focus from ourselves to others. And that's when we position others. Say, hey, Madalina, it's great at doing this, and so I think she could actually lead this project. So you delegate something to her, or giving her an opportunity to also build her own ladder. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So it's not about only our ladder as leaders, it's also to help other people to build their own ladder. And the ladder is just as a metaphor for how high you can climb. Yes,
Yes.
this is what you stated, this is what you mentioned. So how high can I climb, and how far can I help people to also climb their own ladders? Wow,
Absolutely.
that's impressive, and I'm happy that you share with us, Florin. I would actually discuss with you further related to one example that I had related to this
Mhm.
idea of reproduction shift. And it's more, for me, it's more like a reproduction shift in my mind. And because I did this shift in my mind, I actually could behave differently in my leadership game sessions, and not only there but also in my focus groups with discussion on leadership, and any other, let's say, sessions that I have with people. At the beginning, it was the focus on me, and how great I was in that session with people. And I was focusing on getting the feedback from them related to how great I was.
Mm.
But then I realized, well, after I had a discussion with my coach and also with a discussion with a mentor, they stated that it's to be a great leader is not about it's not about being the greatest, or
Mm.
you looking good and you doing great things and you're amazing and everything like that. It's just related to how well and how great can you influence other people to become great people.
Mm.
And after I realized this idea and I realized what I was doing wrong in my sessions, I did a switch and the shift in my mind to focus more on how much value can they get, what can they do from here, what can they get more out of what we are doing together. So how can I be there to serve them? How
Mm.
can I be that person as in service for other people? And once I got this idea in my mind, of course all the sessions from then on were exactly more valuable to the participants, because everybody loves to hear about themselves and to talk about themselves. But
Sure.
it's even better when you hear other people focusing more on you and focusing on what can you do and how can they help you. So this was a big understanding for me, a big stepping stone for my leadership journey. Once I swift from me focus to how can I be of service to people, and actually climbing and creating the ladder, the leadership ladder for others.
Wow,
So
that's so valuable, and I think that's exactly the mindset that leaders should develop, right?
yeah.
At the beginning, like this is we're gonna go into this. I know, we have this question as well, like how can like what holds people back, right? I think we can actually go directly in that. So I think what you just shared there, what you were doing at the beginning, it's one of the behaviors that hold people back from making the shift, right? Because they're focused on
Yeah.
themselves, and they could be focused on themselves from for different reasons. So for one reason that has leaders focus on themselves, the first reason is insecurity, right? They're afraid that if
Oh,
they
yes.
give power away, right, and they now I'm not saying that you were you're insecure, but what I'm saying is that and sometimes leaders um, might hold on to power because they're afraid that if I give this power away to my people, if I build their ladders, if I help them build their ladders, if I empower them, they might take my position. So I'm
They
insecure
might
as a
leave,
leader.
or they might leave. So I also heard some people
That's
speak about that.
absolutely,
Yeah, like
absolutely,
losing my position, losing my power as a leader. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that would be one of the things that holds people back, holds leaders back from making the shift, rather than being say, okay, now my role is to build other people, even if they leave. Because you remember this. This is a a leader asked Florin, but what if I train my people, I develop them, I invest in them, and they leave? What could be worse than that, right? You
Oh
know the answer,
wow.
right?
Yeah, this is usually the topic that leaders have.
Yeah,
They don't want exactly. You made it. You put the right words in our discussion. This is, let's say, the most frequent question that I hear as from leaders.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Why?
know what we should
Why?
say to them? You know what you should say to them is,
What?
it says, well, let me tell you what's worse than that. Not investing in people, not training them, not developing them, and have them stay.
Oh,
That's worse than people leaving, right?
yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
that this is a
This
hard
is
one
worse.
to swallow for many leaders, but that's, if you think about that on the long term, that's worse than investing in people, having people stay, having people leave.
Yeah,
So we can see that insecurity could hold us back
yeah,
from
yeah,
empowering other people, right? Then there's another one. It's the lack of awareness. What I mean by that is the leader not really understanding their roles, right? As a leader, you're in the people business, and so many leaders are too much hands on the business. They work in the business, in the organization. They are. I had a lot of colleagues in my career in the automotive industry where we were at the same on the same position, project leaders, but I focused on empowering the team and actually helping them solve the challenges, while my colleagues just run into, if there was a problem, they run into troubleshooting. They put the technician hat and they went into the car, they went into the software to see what's wrong. And I didn't want to do that, because I knew if I go there, I could definitely solve it, but I don't empower the people to do it without me. And next time when they run into the same problem, they were gonna call me, or they were gonna be stuck. So it's
they
really,
are
we
waiting
have
for,
to.
yeah, they are waiting for the help from somebody else or from outside. Wow. Yeah.
And it's not empowering them, right? So and this also, it's a way for us to hold on to power. Like, if I'm the only one who knows how to solve a certain issue, or I'm the only one who has the competence in a certain area, and if I don't train anyone else, right, I hold on to power. But this is
Yeah.
not the role of a leader. If you think about that, the role of a leader is to actually to develop the organization. And as a matter of fact, when I started as a leader, I didn't understood this. So my goal was to become dispensable for my team, but only for me to take the next position. So I didn't want to empower people, but I wanted to advance in my career. I wanted to, climb the ladder. And I knew if I am actually the team leader here, and if I don't have someone to take my role, I cannot go to my manager and say, hey, I want the promotion, and say, well, who's going to take your role?
I would be
So
stuck in that position because
exactly.
nobody can take my place. Yeah.
So what I was doing, but this was selfish, completely selfish. I wanted to get the next position, so I started to build my team in order for them to not need me. But I didn't
That,
understood this shift. I didn't know that what I was doing, I was actually reproducing myself in them. I was doing it very selfishly. But what happened is that, as a matter of fact, it has helped me, because when I become, obsolete, I said, well, I took time off, and we watched to see where do we get stuck. So I took time off in the busy times. I had to convince my manager to allow me to do that, because they thought that things were going to crash. But what we're
mhm,
doing, we were testing the team. We were testing the strengths of the team and see where is the weakest link in the chain. So then
mm,
we developed that, and then I took time off again, and we developed that. So little by little, we actually built a team which we have different technical areas. We were independent. So that's how I learned this, but I didn't know it. I do it for myself at that time. So I
mm,
didn't knew, I was not aware that my goal was to build my team. Luckily I've done that, and then I realized this is the way to do it, but I've done it for the wrong reason, I have to admit. So again, insecurity, lack of awareness, but also if you think about this, it's like a short-term thinking. If we're not developing people, if we don't want to empower people, maybe being afraid that they leave, maybe being afraid that we don't have a role here to play tomorrow, this is again too short-term thinking. Because in the long term, there is no other way for us to grow or to expand as an organization unless we build leaders, right?
Yep. Yep.
So these are three mindsets that I think, and from my experience, I see hold us back from making this shift.
Wow. Yeah, it's you stated it's important for everybody to know about that, and I realized something that you mentioned earlier, talking about not actually letting people to um, how do you say, sorry, uh, English. This
Oh,
is a difficult part. So I remember you gave an example when you wanted your team to be able to handle all the situations without you.
yeah.
And it's like the philosophy to not to give a person a fish, but to teach them how to fish themselves so that they can have fish all life, all their life.
Hmm.
And I realized something on the other side, on the person who is, let's say, it's teachable in this situation. And I also found myself many times until I realized something. So when you are in this kind of situation, when you are stuck and you cannot find a solution, but you know that somebody outside out there can help you, guess what happens? What happened to me actually? I stopped myself. I didn't do anything else. Anything else. I just waited for the other person to come and rescue me,
Hmm.
because I know that they have the power, they have the knowledge, and I'm not putting any effort into that. And I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting for the people to help me and to rescue me. And
Hmm.
I realized that this is a trap, because if you're waiting for other people to, every single time you are in need, somebody will come and help you. The trap is that you cannot actually develop your mind and try to find yourself the solution that you have for the problem you're facing at the moment. So putting creativity into place, putting problem solving into place, putting initiative into place, and all this together can help you to actually become even better at solving things without depending on other person. So this is a trap that I found out myself, and I think it's useful for everybody to know. Don't don't be trapped in this trap.
And it's also something that I learned, the hard way, because I was not comfortable in asking for help. So that's
Oh,
also where the leader has
yeah.
to read the situation, and he or she to see that Madalina or Florin need help, right?
Oh.
What if Madalina doesn't? What if Madalina waits for the help and Florin doesn't see that Madalina needs help?
Mm.
Or what if Florin needs help but he's not comfortable in asking? And Madalina, being
Mm.
the leader, doesn't see that he needs some help here, right?
Well, yeah, this is another trap,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, and people should, as leaders, people should always ask questions, and should always talk to their people. And because you never know when somebody is stuck in this kind of situation and they don't even realize, not
Yeah,
them as a leader, and also not the other ones. They might not realize that they are stuck in something, and this is not the best way to do it.
no,
Yep.
yeah. And another thing, like you mentioned something really important, and three questions that leaders should ask their team every single day, and arguably every single day, is: how are you doing? What are you working on? How can I help?
Oh, right. I remember
Right?
we discussed about that in a
Absolutely.
previous episode. Remember? I
So if
remember.
you if we as leaders ask these three questions, so then we shouldn't be in a situation where someone needs our help and we don't know about it, right? So maybe you cannot do it every single day, but every couple of days, maybe 2 or 3 times a week at least.
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm.
so that way, as leaders, we stay in touch. We know what's happening, and we know
Yeah.
who needs help. And also, we then know who to empower, who can take the next opportunity. If they're kind of stagnant in their growth, because we check in with them and we know that Madalina has a lot of potential, but she doesn't have a project right now that will take her to the next level. That's my opportunity to empower her, right? That's my
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to help her grow. So I think if leaders do this, then they will not get stuck into this reproduction shift. This will just be something that comes natural to them.
Yeah. I can say for sure that it will come naturally.
So for someone that sees this, what would be some of the opportunities that you see for them? Like if someone makes the shift, what would you say to them?
In my experience, I could say opportunities and also as benefits. You can take it either way. It's the same. First of all, when it's actually in the title also the reproduction shift, which is the keyword reproduction, or what I like to discuss more about is the law of multiply from leadership, which means that you as a leader can be multiplied. If you want to know how the same person can be in two places at once, is not magic, is the leader is multiplied or the person is multiplied by actually sharing their knowledge to other people to actually take or do the same things as the first person is doing, but at the same time, maybe in a different place. So that is how one person can be in multiple places at the same time. And another point would be that you have more influence. You gain more influence when you are doing this reproduction shift, because you actually influence outside of your direct contact zone, which means if you are influencing people to fish, yeah, if you're teaching them how to fish, they will be able to learn other people to fish. So it's like from your action, your one step, one action, teaching somebody how to do something, they will actually be able to multiply your influence to other people that you don't have direct contact with.
Right.
So it's extending your influence zone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Also extending your extending you as a person, like I said, to be in multiple places at once. And another benefit that I could say and I found is to actually have more growth, personal growth, professional growth, because you, by this reproduction, you actually get in contact with experience from other people, not only on yourself. So if you imagine that you're one single person, you only get access to your own experiences. But if you discuss and you interact with and influence other people, then you have access to all of their experiences put together. So these are the three benefits and the three opportunities that I found for this reproduction shift.
Yeah, and that's so true. So you're multiplying your influence, your reach, and also the growth
Yep,
opportunities for yourself and your team.
yep. So
Absolutely.
tell us, Florin, what is, after we discussed what stops people to do this reproduction shift, what are the benefits of doing so? I'm pretty sure that our viewers are asking themselves, how can we actually do that? How can we put that
Yeah,
into practice? So what do you say, Florin, about that? How can we put
yeah.
into practice?
So I think I would like to first share a story from when I first got my first leadership position. I think this is a great example of this at play. So I had a mentor, which was the department head in our department, and he saw in me something that I couldn't see for myself. So he saw in me my people skills, my ability to motivate people. I was kind of the local technical leader, like someone being responsible for a small number of technical people, and being in touch with our technical expertise in France. And I approached this in a different way than other colleagues. I approached this more towards focusing on the people rather than the expertise that we were responsible for. So I think that has got noticed. And so Eric opened up this opportunity for me. So if he wouldn't have noticed me, so first of all, in order for him to actually be able to promote me and to recommend me, he needed to climb the ladder at the level where he had influence. Right? Imagine, how can he promote me without having influence? So if we look at how could someone
Mhm.
make the shift, the first thing would be for them to first climb the ladder. So even though we say, well, don't focus only on yourself, focus on building other people. Well, it's very difficult for you to build other people if you have not climbed on the ladder where you have influence, where people respect you. Even if I would want to position someone, right, and I have no influence with other people, like what would that be worth it? Very little, probably, right? Because I need to I need to be influential to be able to give my influence. You need to, what's the saying? You cannot give what you do not have, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you have to gain the influence yourself. So he definitely was one of the people that got influence in our organization. So when
Mhm,
he
mhm,
proposed me to be promoted as a team leader, that got influence. So first he built the ladder for himself, and then he asked himself, well, now if I can, this kind of be the second stage will be like, if I can hold the ladder for Florin, how far can Florin climb with a little bit of help, right? So
mhm.
that
Yep.
came even before I got promoted, because I remember now that he offered me opportunities. We had maybe cross-functional projects in the organization, so I didn't need it to be the team leader to lead those projects. So he said, Florian, you're good with this. Don't you want to lead this at the department level? So he gave me some of that influence before I was actually the team leader. So this actually was, he
Mhm.
was holding my ladder as I was starting to climb, right? And this
Yeah,
was like kind of
nice.
the way we make the shift, is that this was kind of stage two. But then he saw that I can climb there, and he asked himself, okay, how far can Florin climb if I give him more help, right? With a
Mhm,
lot of help. And that's when the promotion came. So first of all, climb our own ladder and have that influence. Then looking at, can we give someone on our team some of, can we help them? Can we hold the ladder for them to climb? Like, can we give them an opportunity for them to develop? Can we give them an opportunity for them to get noticed? Like at a meeting, right? If there is someone to present something at a board meeting, well, can we give Florian or Madalina an
mhm.
opportunity to present that, so he or she get noticed in the boardroom, right? So that was something that Eric has done for me. And then he gave me the position, which it was a lot of help. Like, now he was extending the ladder for me, right?
Uh-huh,
Extending it
uh-huh.
beyond my current position. And kind of the fourth one is like, how can I help other people build their own ladder, right? So I was already on a trajectory where I was building a career, but he first hold my ladder, then extended my ladder, and then kind of gave me the opportunity to build it for myself. So I'll say,
Mm.
when someone makes the shift, they have to first climb the ladder, then hold the ladder for someone else, extend their ladders, and then build ladders for other people, like position other people for success, knowing that they might leave tomorrow, knowing that they might not they might not get any benefits from positioning other people. That's when
Mhm.
we talk about empowering leadership. That's servant leadership. So I think for us to make the shift, we kind of need to go through these four stages. And Eric has done that for me.
Wow. That's a true mentor and a true leader, as I can say.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
very good, Eric.
Yes. I don't know if he's watching.
Congratulations.
He's probably retired now, but I don't know if he's watching. He might be retired now, but I'm forever
Yeah.
grateful to Eric.
Oh, well, if I can add something, usually in my leadership game sessions, I have this topic related to mentors. If there is anybody that you would like to give thanks, that help you to be the one you are today, when would be a good time and an hour, yeah, when be a good time and day to actually say thank you to them. So if you can get in touch with Eric, you might consider to give him a
Yeah, I
thanks
think I think
for this.
that's yeah, yeah. It's a good reminder. I I know
You
that
never
card.
know. Yeah, you
I
never
know
know.
that card when we play that card, and yes. So yeah,
Yeah. he
I'll
he might be very grateful that you give thanks to him and let him know what actually made a big difference in your life. And you can also too, everybody's listening to us now, you can do this too. And that gets us to the next topic that we are going to have next Monday. We are going to discuss about the communication shift, and it's
absolutely.
actually getting from directing to connecting.
Yeah,
So it has to do something with, let's say, communication, express yourself. So this is a good way to end this episode today. So
a-
looking forward for our next episode, Florin. I'm so happy to be here again, like always.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And I look forward to that too. I hope our viewers got some value today, and if they have a mentor that they haven't been in touch with for long and they would like to just, send a thank you note, I think there is no better day than today.
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in. Take care. See you next week.
See you
Bye-bye.
next week. Bye.